The Prometheus Vault's main elevator descended smooth as butter. Smoother, actually, than the Tesla I'd sold before taking this gig. $80 million buys you that kind of engineering. Also buys you people like me, Dean Maddox, former Blackwater, current glorified doorman for the Apocalypse set. Mr. Castellanos is early, the intercom crackled. Yuki's voice always clipped. She ran operations from the surface bunker, the actual bunker, not this underground palace 50 feet below Moab's Red Rock. Seal sequence in 10. I checked my tablet. Victor Castellanos, Hedge Fund, Unit 7. Wasn't supposed to arrive until Thursday. 3 days early meant something spooked him. Market crash, maybe. Political thing. These people moved when their algorithms told them to move. The elevator doors opened. Castellanos stumbled out. No, not stumbled. Wrong word. He lurched. Expensive Tom Ford suit wrinkled like he'd slept in it. Face gray under the LED lighting we'd installed to simulate sunlight. Cost more than my entire salary to make this corridor feel less like a tomb. Sir, are you? I started. He waved me off. Tried to anyway. His hand moved wrong. Too loose. Like his wrist wasn't properly attached. Fine. Just. The flight. He pulled his roller bag behind him. One of those Rimowa aluminum cases that costs more than a decent used car. It caught on the polished concrete, made a sound like grinding teeth. Need to lie down. Medical protocol requires. I'd memorized the manual. 70 pages of procedures for everything from food poisoning to radiation exposure. We had a clinic down here. Full surgical suite. Dr. Reeves on call 24/7, though mostly she just prescribed Ambien to insomniacs who couldn't sleep without seeing the sky. I'm fine. Castellanos' voice cracked. Just get me to my unit. Protocol said I should insist. Protocol also said clients paid $80,000 monthly maintenance whether they used their space or not. And nothing in the manual covered what to do when a billionaire looked like he might vomit on your boots. I guided him past the common areas, the theater, the gym, the hydroponic garden where tomatoes grew under purple grow lights. Everything empty this time of year. Most clients only visited during events, which was rich person code for when we think society might collapse. Last rush was that thing with North Korea. Before that, the pandemic. Before that, hell, these people always found something to be scared of. Unit 7 was in the West Wing. Castellanos' access card reader blinked green. He practically fell through the doorway. You sure you don't want me to call Dr. Reeves? I kept my voice steady. Professional. But something in my gut twisted. Old instinct from Fallujah, from convoy runs where you learn to read the air before trouble started. Just need rest. He shut the door. The magnetic seals engaged with a solid thunk. I stood there maybe 30 seconds longer than I should have, then headed back towards Central Operations. That's when Yuki's voice came through again. Dean, we have a problem. Castellanos' medical scan at the airport. What about it? He refused it. Told TSA he had diplomatic immunity. His lawyer made calls. I stopped walking. He's supposed to have a clean health screen within 6 hours of entry. That's in the contract. I know what's in the contract. Yuki's voice got that edge it got when she was pissed but couldn't show it. Mrs. Lila Song is asking why protocols weren't followed. Mrs. Vanessa Lila Song, Unit 1, pharmaceutical heiress, board president of the Prometheus Collective, which was what they called the group of owners. She'd been here 2 weeks already. Some merger going south. She'd taken over the main conference room, had her assistant set up 4 monitors. Bloomberg terminal running 24/7. On my way, I said. The conference room smelled like expensive coffee and anxiety. Mrs. Lila Song sat at the head of the table, silk blouse perfect despite 2 weeks underground. Her assistant Torres stood behind her, typing something on his phone. Dr. Reeves leaned against the far wall, arms crossed. Mr. Maddox. Mrs. Lila Song didn't look up from her tablet. Explain why we have an unscreened resident in a sealed environment. He refused screening. His lawyers aren't sealed in an underground bunker with 17 other people. Now she looked up, eyes sharp. We have immunocompromised residents. Mr. Prakash's daughter is 6 years old. This isn't negotiable. I'll talk to him, Dr. Reeves said. She was maybe 45, looked 50 from the stress of dealing with hypochondriacs who could afford to be hypochondriacs. Run a full panel. Blood work, respiratory. Do it now. Mrs. Lila Song's tablet pinged. Her face went still in that way rich people's faces go when money moves wrong. And seal the West Wing. Nobody in or out until we know what we're dealing with. That's a little extreme, I started. Mr. Maddox, I don't pay you to make medical decisions. I pay you to implement security protocols. Seal. The wing. I pulled up the vault's control system on my tablet. The Prometheus vault was designed like a luxury fallout shelter, which is exactly what it was, except the residents pretended they were just investing in alternative real estate. Each unit had its own air filtration, but the corridors shared ventilation. Fire doors could partition the space into segments. 15-ton steel, pneumatic seals. Supposed to contain anything from fire to, infectious disease. Sealing west wing, I said. Press the command. Somewhere in the walls, hydraulics engaged. The corridor I just walked down shut itself off from the rest of the vault. My tablet showed the air pressure differential stabilizing. Castellanos was isolated. Satisfied? I asked. Mrs. Lila Song's tablet pinged again. She closed her eyes. The Dow dropped 800 points, she said. Something's happening. Dr. Reeves brought me along to Castellanos' unit because security presence might be necessary, which was Dr. speak for, this guy might be an asshole and I need backup. She knocked. Waited. Knocked again. Mr. Castellanos? It's Dr. Reeves. I need to run some standard tests. No answer. I pulled up the door override on my tablet. Every unit had one, fire safety regulation. Owners had screamed about privacy, but the Utah building inspectors didn't care how rich you were. If you built underground, you followed the code. The door's magnetic seal released. Dr. Reeves pushed it open. The smell hit first. Sweet. Wrong. Like fruit rotting in a hot car. Castellanos lay on the Italian leather couch, still in his suit. His skin had gone from gray to yellowish. Sweat soaked his collar. The Rimowa case sat open beside him, clothes spilling out. Mr. Castellanos? Dr. Reeves moved toward him. I stayed in the doorway. Old habit from room clearing. Always keep your exit clear. His eyes opened. Not the way eyes should open. Too slow. Too far. Whites showing all around the iris. Get out, he whispered. I need to examine. Get out. He tried to sit up. Couldn't. His muscles spasmed. The couch leather made obscene squeaking sounds as he thrashed. Dr. Reeves backed toward me. Professional calm cracking. Dean, we need containment. Now. I pulled the door shut. Hit the seal command. Watch the status lights go green. Magnetic locks engaged. Air system isolated. Pressure differential maintained. What the hell was that? My voice came out steadier than I felt. I don't know. Dr. Reeves's hands shook as she pulled out her phone. But we need to assume contagion protocol. Meaning everyone in this vault needs testing. Meaning we don't unseal anything until we know what we're dealing with. Meaning, she looked at me, really looked at me, meaning we might have a problem. The next 6 hours turned into a bureaucratic nightmare wrapped in medical terror. Dr. Reeves set up a testing station in the clinic. Everyone in the vault, 18 residents plus me, Yuki, the 2 maintenance techs, and the 3 kitchen staff, got blood drawn, respiratory screening, the works. Mrs. Lila Song made calls. A lot of calls. Her lawyers. The CDC. Some private medical outfit in Atlanta that specialized in discrete health emergencies. Raj Prakash kept his daughter Mira away from everyone else, held her in his unit while his wife Priya answered the door for testing. Kid was crying. Could hear it through the walls. The Sorensen twins, tech startup money, maybe 25 years old, treated it like an adventure. Posted on Instagram about being sealed in a luxury bunker, until Mrs. Lila Song threatened to cut their internet access. And Castellanos? Castellanos stopped making noise around hour 4. I checked the security feeds. The vault had cameras everywhere except inside the units, privacy regulations. But the corridors showed empty. The sealed door to the west wing looked solid. Pressure readings normal. My tablet pinged. Text from Yuki. Surface reports multiple flights from Europe canceled. Something spreading. No official announcement yet. I showed it to Mrs. Lila Song. Fuck, she said. First time I'd heard her curse. What was he running from? Dr. Reeves's test results started coming back around hour 7. Everyone clean so far. But she kept glancing at her equipment, frowning. What? I asked. I'm running Castellanos' blood work remotely. Had samples from his last physical. The protein markers are... She trailed off. This isn't natural. What does that mean? It means either this is the worst flu variant I've ever seen, or someone engineered this. The vault's air conditioning kicked on with its usual whisper-quiet hum. Somewhere in the ventilation system, HEPA filters cycled atmosphere that hadn't seen sunlight in 2 weeks. We had enough stored oxygen to last 6 months. Food for a year. Water recycling that would make NASA jealous. But none of that meant shit if something was already inside with us. Mrs. Lila Song's tablet lit up. She stared at it. Her face went white. The CDC just issued a level 4 advisory for the entire eastern seaboard, she said. They're calling it an emerging pathogen. Airborne. Mortality rate unknown but estimated high. Where did it start? I asked. She looked at me, then at the sealed door to the west wing. Geneva, she said. 3 days ago. Same city Castellanos flew in from. Hour 12, things got worse. The ventilation system started making sounds it wasn't supposed to make. Not loud. The Prometheus vault systems were designed for silence. But I'd done enough walkthroughs to know what normal sounded like. This wasn't normal. This was a grinding noise deep in the walls, like something struggling. I found Torres, Mrs. Lila Song's assistant, in the gym, running on the treadmill like the world wasn't ending. Kid was maybe 30, Silicon Valley type who'd followed his boss into her paranoid prepper phase. Torres, you know anything about the HVAC system? He didn't stop running. Why would I? Because I just checked the maintenance logs and you've been accessing the environmental controls. His pace faltered. Mrs. Lila Song wanted me to optimize the airflow. She thought. He stopped the treadmill. She thought if we could increase the positive pressure in certain areas, create a gradient away from the west wing, we'd be safer. You changed the settings? Just tweak them. I have an engineering degree. I know what I'm. The lights flickered. Treadmill went dark. Emergency lighting kicked in, dim LEDs that made everything look like a morgue. The hell did you do? I grabbed my tablet. The power grid showed red warnings cascading across the screen. You overloaded the air handling system. It's pulling too much power. That's impossible. I calculated. Your calculations just crashed half our electrical system. I ran toward central operations. The corridors felt different in emergency lighting. Longer. The polished concrete walls that looked so futuristic in full light now seemed to close in. Like walking through a throat. Yuki's voice crackled through my earpiece. Dean, we've lost contact with surface operations. Backup generators are compensating but... Static. Yuki? Nothing. I reached Central Ops to find the main control board lit up like a Christmas tree. Every system thrown into error state. The backup generators hummed somewhere below our feet, housed in a separate chamber, triple redundant because rich people don't skimp on infrastructure. But the air handling system? That was tied into the main grid. And Torres's optimizations had created a feedback loop that fried the primary controls. My tablet showed the west wing seal integrity at 94%. Pressure differential dropping. I pulled up the manual override controls. Started running diagnostics. That's when I heard it. A sound from the west wing. Through the sealed door. Through 15 tons of steel and pneumatic seals. Screaming. Not words. Just raw sound. Human throat making noises that shouldn't be possible. Then it stopped. The sudden silence was worse. Dr. Reeves appeared behind me, breathing hard. The blood tests are back. Everyone's clean except... She looked at the monitors showing the west wing. We need to know what's behind that door. Are you insane? I need tissue samples. Need to understand what we're dealing with. If this spreads, if we open that door, it will spread. The seal's failing anyway. She pointed at my tablet. You see the pressure reading. We have maybe 6 hours before that corridor equalizes with the rest of the vault. She was right. I hated that she was right. Fine. But I'm going in armed and you're staying in full hazmat gear. We had 1 BSL, force suit in the medical supply. Positive pressure, built-in oxygen. Dr. Reeves climbed into it while I grabbed the Mossberg from the armory. 12 gauge, loaded with slugs. The vault's weapons cache was meant for post-collapse security scenarios. Rich person code for shooting poor people who want our food. Never thought I'd use it for this. Mrs. Lila Song found us suiting up. What are you doing? Getting answers, I said. Absolutely not. We seal that section permanently, flood it with... With what? We're underground. We can't vent to atmosphere. Whatever's in there stays in here with us. I checked the shotgun's action. Unless you want to spend the next 6 months wondering when it'll get out. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Her tablet pinged again. Probably another stock market crash. Another crisis she couldn't control from down here. Fine, she said, but I want a camera feed. Live. I clipped a body cam to my tactical vest. The same one I'd worn in Iraq, still had dried mud in the seams from some firefight I'd rather forget. Dr. Reeves and I stood in front of the sealed door. My tablet showed the West Wing's atmosphere, oxygen normal, CO2 elevated, temperature up 3 degrees. And something else. Movement on the infrared sensors. Ready? I asked. Dr. Reeves nodded. The hazmat suit made her look like an astronaut. Like we were exploring alien terrain instead of a corridor 50 feet from the chef's kitchen. I released the seal. The door pneumatics hissed. 15 tons of steel slid open 6 inches. Then a foot. Then enough for us to enter. The smell hit even through my respirator. That sweet rot magnified 1,000 times. Mixed with something chemical. Copper. Blood, but wrong. The West Wing corridor looked normal at first. Same polished concrete. Same LED panels in the ceiling, though half of them had failed. Emergency lighting painted everything red. Then I saw the walls. Something black spread across them. Not paint. Not mold. Organic but geometric, like fractals. It moved in the shifting light, or maybe that was just my eyes trying to make sense of it. Jesus Christ, Dr. Reeves whispered. Her voice came through the suit's external speakers, tinny and distant. We moved toward Unit 7. The door stood open. Castellanos lay on the floor, still in his suit, still breathing. I could see his chest moving, but his skin had turned that black color. The fractals, they covered his face, his hands spread under his clothes. His eyes opened. They were black too, all the way through, like someone filled his skull with ink. Dean, Dr. Reeves's voice shook. Dean, we need to leave. Now. Castellanos' mouth opened. A sound came out. Not screaming. Worse. Words maybe, but in no language I'd ever heard. Consonants that hurt to hear. Vowels that made my inner ear twist. I raised the shotgun. Mr. Castellanos, can you understand me? His head turned. Too far. Too smooth. Like his neck was made of rubber. Dean, his cellular structure is... Dr. Reeves was looking at some handheld scanner. This isn't a pathogen. This is a transformation. His DNA is rewriting itself in real time. In English document, he's not sick. He's changing. Into something else. Castellanos stood up. Shouldn't have been possible. His muscles were wrong, bones wrong. But he stood anyway, defying anatomy. The black fractals spread across the walls faster now. Reaching toward us. Moving, I said. Grabbed Dr. Reeves's arm. Started backing toward the door. Castellanos followed. Each step looked painful. Like he was learning to walk in a body that didn't fit anymore. I fired. The shotgun roared in the enclosed space. Slug caught him center mass. Should have dropped him. Should have torn through suit and ribs and put him down. He stumbled. Looked down at the hole in his chest. Black fluid leaked out, not blood. Thicker. It moved upward against gravity. The hole sealed itself. Go! I shoved Dr. Reeves through the door. Fired again. Again. The Mossberg held 6 rounds. I emptied it. Castellanos kept coming. I hit the door controls. The pneumatic seal engaged. 15 tons of steel sliding shut. Castellanos reached for us, black fractals spreading from his fingers like roots seeking soil. The door closed. Sealed. Pressure equalized. On my tablet, the infrared sensor in the West Wing showed heat signatures. Plural. More than one. The black fractals were spreading. Creating more. Multiplying. And the seal integrity was down to 87%. Mrs. Lila Song called an emergency meeting. Everyone crammed into the conference room. Everyone except the Prakash family, who stayed sealed in their unit with Mira. Can't blame them. 6-year-old kid doesn't need to see adults pretending they're not terrified. Options, Mrs. Lila Song said. No preamble. Her silk blouse finally looked wrinkled. The pharmaceutical heiress facade cracking. Dr. Reeves? Reeves still wore the hazmat suit. Hadn't taken it off. Smart. The organism, I'm calling it an organism because I don't know what else to call it, operates like aggressive cancer crossed with a fungal network. It transforms human tissue while somehow keeping the host ambulatory. The speed of transmission suggests airborne vectors, but it also spreads through physical contact and possibly, she paused, possibly through the ventilation system. How long until it reaches us? That was Henrik Sorensen, one of the tech twins. His brother Lucas sat next to him, both of them finally not looking at their phones. Based on the seal degradation? 4 hours. Maybe 5. The room went silent. The air conditioning kept humming. HEPA filters cycling contaminated atmosphere we couldn't escape. We flood the West Wing, Torres said. There's a fire suppression system, right? Halon or FM 200, I corrected. And it won't work. Whatever this is, it doesn't need oxygen. You saw it spreading on the walls. Then we seal it. Permanently. Weld the door shut. And trap ourselves here with it? Lucas Sorensen laughed. Not funny. Hysterical. Great plan. What about surface? Mrs. Lila Song looked at me. Can they send help? I pulled up my tablet. Still no contact with Yuki. The surface bunker's status showed green. Sealed, operational, but not responding to comms. Even if they could, what would they do? Send in a team? To deal with what? We don't even know what to call this thing. A bioweapon, Dr. Reeves said quietly. Has to be. The transformation speed, the adaptability. This didn't evolve naturally. Geneva. Mrs. Lila Song's voice went cold. Castellanos came from Geneva. 3 days ago, right when the outbreak started. He knew, I realized. He knew he was infected. That's why he refused screening. Why he ran here. He came here to kill us. Torres stood up, face flushed. That son of a bitch. He came here because he thought he'd be safe. Mrs. Lila Song cut him off. Same reason we're all here. Because we have money and think that means we can hide from consequences. Her tablet pinged. She looked at it, went even paler. The CDC just revised their mortality estimate, she said. 93%. Eastern Seaboard under martial law. They're burning entire city blocks. The overhead lights flickered. Emergency lighting kicked in again, that more dimness. We're losing power, I said. Checked my tablet. Main generators overheating. Torres's modifications to the air system are still cascading through the electrical grid. Fix it, Mrs. Lila Song snapped. I'm not an electrical engineer. I'm security. And even if I could fix it, the backup generators won't handle the load indefinitely. The conference room door burst open. Priya Prakash stood there, eyes wide. Something's wrong with Raj. We ran. The Prakash unit looked normal at first. Expensive but understated, Priya's influence. Raj had tech money, but she'd made him tone down the crypto bro aesthetic. Warm lighting, actual books on the shelves. Raj sat on the couch, head in his hands. Mira curled up next to him, asleep or pretending to be. I just need, he looked up. His eyes were bloodshot. Sweat soaked his shirt. I just need to rest. It's the stress, I saw it on his neck. Small, maybe the size of a dime. Black fractal patterns spreading under his skin. Raj. My voice came out flat. Professional. The way you talk to someone when you know they're already dead. When did you go near the West Wing? I didn't. I haven't left, he stopped. Touched his neck. Felt the mark. No, that's not possible. The ventilation system, Dr. Reeves said. She pulled out her scanner. Started checking the air vents. It's in the air. The modifications Torres made, they changed the flow patterns. Created negative pressure zones that pulled contaminated air through the building. Torres backed away. I didn't know. I was trying to help. You killed us, Henrik said. Not angry. Just stating fact. The lights went out completely. Emergency lighting failed. Darkness so total I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. Then the backup generators kicked in. Dim red emergency LEDs casting everything in bloodlight. My tablet showed the West Wing seal at 71%. The infrared sensors throughout the vault lighting up with heat signatures. The fractals spreading through the ventilation system. Through the walls. Through everything. How long? Mrs. Lila Song asked. Dr. Reeves checked her scanner. Hours. Maybe less. Then we leave, Lucas said. Go to the surface. Take our chances. Surface is gone, I interrupted. Showed him my tablet. The news feeds I'd been monitoring. Denver under quarantine. Salt Lake City burning. The National Guard is shooting anyone who tries to leave the quarantine zones. Then what? Priya held Mira tighter. The kid was awake now, crying softly. What do we do? Everyone looked at me. Like I had answers. Like my Blackwater training covered nightmare bioweapons and luxury bunkers. We have one option, I said. The vault has a secondary emergency exit. Blast tunnel that opens half a mile away. It's for worst-case scenarios, fire, structural collapse, that kind of thing. Why didn't you mention this before? Mrs. Lila Song demanded. Because it's a one-way trip. Once we blow the tunnel, the vault's compromised. Everything floods with outside air. And right now, outside air might be as contaminated as in here. So we're choosing between dying down here or dying out there? Torres laughed, still hysterical. Great options. We take the tunnel, Priya said. Her voice cut through the panic. We take the tunnel and we run. Maybe we get lucky. Maybe there's somewhere still clean. But staying here? She looked around at the walls, at the vents, at Raj sweating on the couch. Staying here is dying slow. She's right, Mrs. Lila Song said. Dean, how do we access this tunnel? It's keyed to my biometrics. Retinal scan, fingerprint. The owners insisted, didn't want anyone using it without security approval. I pulled up the controls. It's in the lowest level. Sub-basement 3. We'd need to move fast. What about Raj? Priya whispered. Everyone looked at him, at the black mark spreading up his neck, at his eyes, starting to show darkness around the edges. I'll stay, Raj said. His voice was steady, clearer than it should have been. I'll stay and seal the unit. Give you time. Raj, no, Priya started. Priya. He stood up, took her hands. Take care of Mira. Get her out. Promise me. She was crying now, nodding. Mira clung to her leg, not understanding. Maybe better that way. We left them like that. Raj staying behind in a luxury bunker that cost more than most people earned in a lifetime. Staying to die so his daughter might live. The Prometheus vault had never felt more like a tomb. Sub-basement 3 smelled like ozone and machine oil. The emergency tunnel entrance was behind a false wall in the utility room, next to the water recycling system that had cost $2 million and smelled faintly of chlorine. My tablet showed the vault falling apart behind us. West wing seal at 53%. Power grid cascading failures. Infrared sensors showing heat signatures everywhere now. The fractals spreading, multiplying, consuming. How do we trigger the exit? Mrs. Lila Song asked. She carried her tablet still, like stock prices mattered anymore. I placed my hand on the biometric scanner, leaned in for retinal scan. The system took forever, 5 seconds that felt like hours. Then the wall split open, pneumatic hinges revealing a corridor carved through solid rock. Emergency lighting ran down its length, half a mile to freedom, or to contamination. Hard to say which. Ladies first, I said. Mrs. Lila Song went through. Then Torres, still pale from knowing he'd killed us all. The Sorensen twins. Dr. Reeves in her hazmat suit. Priya carrying Mira, the kid's face buried in her mother's shoulder. And me. Always last. Old habit. The tunnel was tight, maybe 6 feet wide. Bare rock walls. The kind of claustrophobic space that makes you think about all that weight above you. Thousands of tons of Utah rock. The emergency lighting cast everything in white LED. Cleaner than the vault's blood-red emergency lights, but somehow worse. Showed every detail. Every crack in the rock. Every drip of groundwater seeping through. We ran. Half a mile doesn't sound like much. But running in a confined tunnel, breathing canned air, listening to the sounds of panic behind you, that half mile stretched forever. My tablet kept pinging. Vault systems failing. Power at 23%. Seal integrity at 41%. I wondered if Raj was still alive, if the fractals had taken him yet, if he'd felt it happen. Wondered if I'd feel it when it came for me. The tunnel ended at another blast door. This one operated manually, no biometrics. Just a wheel lock like a submarine hatch. I grabbed it, started turning. Wait. Dr. Reeves held up her scanner. I'm reading atmospheric contamination on the other side. How bad? Unknown. But it's there. Particulate matter consistent with burned biological material. Smoke, ash, and, she paused, trace amounts of the organism. So we die in here or take our chances out there, Henrik said. Story of my life. I kept turning the wheel. The lock mechanism groaned, resisted, then gave way. The door swung open. Desert night air rushed in. Cool, dry, smelling of sage and juniper and something else. Something wrong. Sweet rot carried on the wind. We emerged onto a rocky hillside. The tunnel exit had been disguised as a natural cave, good engineering. Below us, maybe 3 miles away, I could see Moab. Or what used to be Moab. Fires burned. Not everywhere. Just spots. Like someone had dropped matches on a map. Emergency lights flashed, police, fire, ambulance. But no movement. The streets looked empty. And the sky was wrong. Usually, desert night sky out here shows 1,000 stars. The Milky Way like a river of light. But tonight, Tonight the sky was hazy, orange, like wildfire smoke, but the wrong color. More yellow. Sickly. What is that? Lucas whispered. Spores, Dr. Reeves said. She was still checking her scanner. The organism is aerosolizing, creating airborne vectors. That haze, it's full of it. Then we're already dead, Torres said. Flat. Matter of fact. Not necessarily. Dr. Reeves pointed northwest. Higher elevation. Above the inversion layer. If we can get into the mountains, above where the spores settle. That's 40 miles, I said. Through contaminated zone. On foot. You have a better idea? I didn't. We started walking. Mrs. Lila Song abandoned her tablet after the first mile. No signal anyway, and the battery was dying. Torres threw up twice. The Sorensen twins kept looking at their phones, trying to get data, finding nothing. Priya carried Mira the whole way. Kid was so quiet. Maybe shock. Maybe just exhausted. Hard to tell. I took point because that's what I did. Security. Protection. Keep the client safe. Even when the world ended. We walked through the desert under that sick yellow sky. Past burned-out buildings. Overturned cars. Bodies, some of them. Most covered in those black fractals. Some still moving, which was worse. One of them saw us. Started following. Shambling. Wrong proportions, like something wearing human skin badly. I still had the Mossberg. Put it down with 3 shots to the head. The thing dropped, fractals spreading from the wounds like roots seeking water. Keep moving, I said. Dawn came eventually. Red sun rising through yellow haze. The light made everything look alien. Wrong wavelengths. Wrong colors. We climbed. Higher into the foothills. The air got thinner, colder. Mira started crying, actually crying now, not just whimpering. Priya looked like she might collapse. There. Dr. Reeves pointed. An old fire lookout tower, maybe 30 feet tall. Metal frame. Wooden platform at the top. We climbed. Everyone but Torres, who sat at the base, too exhausted to move. I went back down, dragged him up bodily. By the time we reached the platform, my lungs burned and my legs felt like concrete. But the air was clearer up here. Dr. Reeves's scanner showed lower contamination levels. Not zero, but better. How long? Mrs. Lila Song asked. Until what? Until it reaches us up here. Until we run out of water. Until we have to go back down. She looked at me. Really looked at me. How long until we die? I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. We sat on that platform as the sun rose higher. As the desert below turned into something else. As the black fractals spread across the landscape like a cancer. As the yellow haze thickened. Mira fell asleep in Priya's arms. The Sorensen twins sat together, not talking. Dr. Reeves kept checking her scanner, writing notes on her suit's arm with a greased pencil. Data for no one. Science for nothing. And Mrs. Lila Song laughed. Quiet at first, then louder. Hysterical. $80 million, she said. 80 million for a bunker. State-of-the-art air filtration. 6 months of supplies. All that engineering. All that paranoia. And we lasted, what? 18 hours? Nobody answered her. The vault's probably still sealed, Torres said. His voice sounded distant. Dreamy. Main power's dead, but the backup generators could run for weeks. Emergency seals engaging. It'll be perfectly preserved down there. A tomb full of luxury. Raj, Priya whispered, holding Mira tighter. I checked my tablet one last time. Signal was gone, cell towers dead or overwhelmed. But the vault's local network still transmitted for another few seconds before the battery died. Final status, seal integrity 11%. Power at 8%. Temperature rising. Infrared sensors showing heat signatures throughout all levels now. The fractals had won. Consumed everything. Turned a $50 million luxury bunker into a breeding ground. The screen went dark. I set the tablet down on the platform. Looked out at what used to be Utah. The fires had spread. More now. Like the organism was burning through fuel it found. Burning through everything we'd built. My satellite phone, Henrik said suddenly. He'd been so quiet I'd forgotten he was there. I left a satellite phone in my unit. Iridium network. Should still work even with the cell towers down. Doesn't matter, Lucas told him. Who would you call? Henrik thought about that. Nodded slowly. Yeah. Dr. Reeves kept writing notes. Her handwriting got smaller, more cramped. Like she was running out of space. Running out of time. Running out of things to say that mattered. I've been thinking, she said. Not to anyone in particular. Just talking. About Castellanos. About why he came to the vault. He had to know he was infected. Had to know what would happen. He was scared, I said. People do stupid things when they're scared. Maybe. Or maybe he thought the vault could save him. All that money. All that technology. If you can buy anything, why not buy survival? She laughed. Bitter. Turns out some things don't care about your bank account. The sun climbed higher. The yellow haze thickened. I could taste it now even up here, sweet rot on the back of my tongue. Like breathing in decay. Mira woke up crying. Priya tried to comfort her. But what do you say? What do you tell a 6-year-old when the world ends? I'm hungry, Mira said. Simple. Direct. Kid didn't understand apocalypse. Just understood basic needs. We had nothing. We'd run with what we carried, which was nothing except Dr. Reeves's equipment and my empty shotgun. I know, baby, Priya said. I know. Mrs. Lila Song stood up, walked to the edge of the platform, looked down at the 30-foot drop to rocks below. Don't, I said. Why not? She didn't turn around. We're dead anyway. Just slow her up here. Because that kid deserves better than watching someone jump. Mrs. Lila Song stood there another moment, then sat back down. Not convinced. Just tired. The day stretched on. The temperature dropped despite the sun, that yellow haze blocking light, changing weather patterns. The desert below continued transforming. I watched the black fractals spread across Interstate 191. Watched them consume the gas stations, the tourist shops, the Mormon church on Main Street. Watched them reach the base of our tower. They're here, Torres said, pointing down. 3 figures. 4. More emerging from the haze. Human-shaped but wrong. Moving with that shambling gait. Black fractals covering their skin. Some I recognized or thought I did. The clerk from the Speedway station. The waitress from Denny's. People I'd seen around town during my twice-monthly supply runs. They gathered at the tower base. Didn't climb. Just stood there. Waiting. Like they knew we couldn't stay up here forever. Maybe we should, Henrik started. Should what? Lucas cut him off. Fight them? Run. There's nowhere to run to, brother. Stockholm, Henrik said suddenly. I've got an apartment in Stockholm. We could. Stockholm's probably gone, Dr. Reeves said. She'd finally stopped writing. Put down the grease pencil. Geneva was the epicenter. Europe first. Then East Coast. It's spreading exponentially. Even if Stockholm's clean now, it won't be for long. Then where? Henrik's voice cracked. Where do we go? Nobody answered. The figures below grew more numerous as day turned to dusk. 10, 20, 50. Some arriving from Moab. Others from the desert. All gathering. All waiting. I thought about the vault. About Raj sealed in his unit. About Castellanos in the West Wing. About all that money and technology and paranoia that couldn't stop this. Couldn't stop anything that mattered. I need to tell you something, Torres said, his voice small. Scared. About the ventilation system. About what I did. We know what you did, Mrs. Lila Song said. You modified the airflow. You killed us. No. I mean, yes. But that's not. He pulled up his sleeve. Showed us his forearm. Black fractals. Small. Just starting to spread under the skin. When? I asked. In the tunnel. I felt dizzy. Thought it was panic. But then I saw. He touched the mark. I'm turning into one of them. Priya pulled Mira back. Dr. Reeves raised her scanner. How long? I asked her. Based on Raj's progression? Hours. Maybe 6. Torres laughed. That same hysterical sound. 6 hours. I get 6 more hours as human. Then I become what? That. He pointed at the figures below. We could, Henrik started. Could what? Cure me? With what medical supplies? What laboratory? Torres stood up, walked to the platform edge. I'm not going to turn into one of those things. I'm not going to make you kill me. Torres, Mrs. Lila Song reached for him. He jumped, 30 feet to rock. His body hit with a sound I'll remember until I die. Which probably won't be long. The figures below converged on him. Black fractals spreading from their hands to his body. Consuming. Transforming. Even in death, the organism found use for him. Mira was crying again. Priya covering her eyes, but too late. The kid had seen. We can't stay here, I said. Stating the obvious. Saying it anyway because someone had to. Where do we go? Lucas asked. You see what's down there? You see what happened to Torres? Higher, Dr. Reeves said. The mountains. Above the spore layer. Maybe we find someplace. With what supplies? Henrik interrupted. With what water? We're in the fucking desert, doctor. We die of thirst before we die of this thing. He wasn't wrong. I looked at my empty shotgun, at Mrs. Lila Song's useless tablet, at Dr. Reeves's scanner that could measure our death but not prevent it, at Priya holding Mira, at the Sorensen twins looking at their blank phone screens like connection might magically return, at the sun setting through yellow haze, at the desert below turning into alien landscape, at the future that wasn't coming. I built that vault, Mrs. Lila Song said quietly. I mean, I didn't build it, but I organized the collective, convinced 17 other people to invest, sold them on the idea of safety, of survival, told them money could buy protection from anything. She looked at her hands. I was so sure, so fucking sure. You couldn't have known, Dr. Reeves said. Couldn't I? We all knew something was coming. Climate change, pandemic, social collapse, pick your apocalypse. That's why we built the vault. But we built it for the wrong threat. We prepared for scarcity when we should have prepared for this. She gestured at the transformed landscape. For something we couldn't understand, couldn't fight, couldn't escape from. The figures below had multiplied. Hundreds now, maybe thousands. The whole town of Moab transforming. Coming here. Why? What do they want? They're not attacking, Lucas observed. They're just waiting. For what? Henrik asked. Dr. Reeves checked her scanner. Frowned. The spore concentration is increasing. Exponentially. Like they're producing it. Broadcasting it. So they're spreading it on purpose, I said. Or the organism is using them to spread itself. I don't think they have individual agency anymore. They're just vectors. Ambulatory transmission systems. You're saying they're not people anymore, Priya said. Her voice steady despite holding Mira. Despite everything. They're just things. I'm saying the line between those categories might not matter anymore. Night fell. The yellow haze glowed faintly, bioluminescence from the spores. The figures below stood motionless. Patient. Eternal. We didn't sleep. Couldn't. Just sat on that platform as the temperature dropped and the stars failed to appear through the haze and our water bottles ran dry. Around midnight, I think it was midnight, hard to tell without phones, Priya started singing to Mira. Lullabies. Hindi songs I didn't understand but recognized as the universal language of mothers comforting children. Mrs. Lila Song cried silently. Dr. Reeves kept taking readings, kept writing notes nobody would read. The Sorensen twins sat with their arms around each other. And I watched. Security. Protection. Keeping the perimeter. Old habits dying hard. Dawn came again. Red sun through yellow haze. The figures below hadn't moved. But there were more now. Thousands. Covering the hillside. Covering the desert. All waiting. I can't feel my legs, Henrik said. He pulled up his pants. Black fractals spreading from his ankles. We didn't go near anyone. How did? The spores, Dr. Reeves said. Her voice flat. Professional. Past emotion. Airborne transmission. We've been breathing them since we left the tunnel. Since before, probably. Since Castellanos arrived at the vault. So we're all infected, Lucas said. Yes. How long? Hours. Maybe a day. Mira looked up at her mother. Mommy, I don't feel good. Priya's face crumpled. But she held it together. Held her daughter. I know, baby. I know. I checked my arms. My legs. No marks yet. But I felt it. That wrongness under the skin. That sense of something moving. Changing. Rewriting. The vault was supposed to save us, Mrs. Lila Song said. Talking to herself. To nobody. $80 million. 6 months of supplies. All that preparation. All that fear. And it meant nothing. We died anyway. We're not dead yet, I said. Give it time. The sun climbed. The spore haze thickened. I could see it now. Individual particles floating. Drifting. Landing on our skin. Our clothes. Entering our lungs with each breath. The figures below remained motionless. Waiting for us to join them. Waiting for the organism to complete its work. I should have stayed with Raj, Priya said. We should have stayed together. Died together as a family instead of. She looked at Mira, at the mark appearing on the kid's neck. Instead of this. Henrik collapsed. Hit the platform hard. Black fractals spreading across his face. His eyes. Lucas grabbed him, tried to help, but Henrik's body spasmed. Changed. Bones moving under skin. Muscles rewriting themselves. Help him, Lucas begged. Someone help him. But there was no help. We all knew it, had known it since Castellanos stumbled out of that elevator, since the vault's doors sealed, since we crawled out of that tunnel into a world that didn't exist anymore. Henrik stopped moving, stood up. His eyes were black now, all the way through. He looked at Lucas, at us. No recognition, just hunger, or programming, or whatever the organism felt when it looked at unconverted biomass. Henrik? Lucas whispered. Henrik lunged. I still had the shotgun. Empty but heavy. I swung it like a club, caught Henrik across the temple. He went down, got back up, shambled toward Lucas again. I'm sorry, I said. To Lucas. To Henrik. To whatever remained of either. I shoved Henrik off the platform, 30 feet down. He hit. Didn't matter. The figures below absorbed him, accepted him. One more vector in the spreading network. Lucas screamed, broke, ran to the platform edge like he might jump after his brother. I grabbed him, held him back. Let me go, he sobbed. Let me go to him. Not yet, I said. Not yet. But soon. We all knew it would be soon. Dr. Reeves was still writing, her handwriting nearly illegible now. Cramped. Desperate. For the record, she said, if anyone finds this, the organism operates through genetic rewriting, cellular transformation. It's not killing us. It's changing us, making us into something else, something that serves its propagation. We're not dying. We're becoming. What's the difference? Mrs. Lilasong asked. Dr. Reeves looked at her, then at her own arm, black fractals spreading from her wrist. I don't know anymore. The day wore on. One by one we fell. The marks spread. The transformation began. Lucas went quiet, then collapsed. Mrs. Lilasong simply sat down and stopped moving. Dr. Reeves kept writing until her hand couldn't hold the greased pencil anymore. Priya held Mira until the end, singing those Hindi lullabies. The kid went first, smaller body, faster transformation. Then Priya, mother and daughter together. Black fractals covering them, eyes going dark, bodies standing, walking to the platform edge, descending the tower to join the thousands below. I was last, always last. Security, protection, guard the client even when there's nothing left to guard. The marks appeared on my chest first, then my arms, black fractals spreading fast now, accelerating. My skin felt wrong, tight, then loose, then not like skin at all. More like something wearing me. I looked down at the figures below, hundreds of them, thousands, all standing perfectly still in the yellow haze. All waiting. For me, I realized. They were waiting for me. My legs started moving. Not a choice. The muscles just contracted, pulled, walked me toward the platform edge. I grabbed the railing. Held on. But my fingers were black now. The fractals had covered my hands completely. Not yet, I said out loud. To myself. To nobody. Not fucking yet. But my grip loosened. My body wasn't listening anymore. Wasn't mine anymore. I thought about Yuki in the surface bunker. Wondered if she was still alive up there. Wondered if anyone was still alive anywhere. Wondered if it mattered. My foot hit the first rung of the ladder. Then the second. Climbing down. Each movement mechanical. Precise. Like my body knew exactly where to go even though I didn't want to go there. 20 feet down. 10. 5. My boots hit the ground. The figures surrounded me immediately. Not threatening. Just there. Standing close. Their bodies covered in those black fractals. Their eyes solid black. Their mouths open slightly like they were tasting the air. One of them was Torres. I recognized his shirt, that expensive button-down he'd been wearing. His face was mostly gone, replaced by the fractal patterns. But something in the way he stood, the tilt of his head. Another was Henrik, or had been Henrik. Hard to tell anymore. They didn't attack, just stood there, waiting for me to finish changing, waiting for me to join them in whatever the hell they were now. The fractals covered my neck, my jaw, spreading across my face. I could feel my skin splitting, reforming. Could feel my eyes starting to go dark. I tried to scream. My throat wouldn't work right, just made a wet clicking sound. The last thing I saw clearly was the tower above me. Empty now, just a metal frame against that sick yellow sky. Dr. Reeves's notes still up there on the platform, her grease pencil observations that nobody would ever read. Then my vision went. Not black, just different. Everything flat and strange. The world reduced to heat signatures and movement. The individual gone. Just the collective. Just the spreading. Just the organism doing what organisms do. Survive, propagate, consume. My body moved. Walking. Not toward anything. Just walking. Following some pattern I couldn't understand. Couldn't resist. Behind us, behind all of us, the vault sat sealed in its hole in the ground. $80 million of engineering. 6 months of supplies. All that paranoia and preparation. Empty now. A tomb for nobody. A monument to the idea that money could buy safety. The yellow haze thickened. The spores kept spreading. And we kept walking. Kept moving. Kept being whatever we were now. Not human anymore. Not really anything anymore. Just vectors. Just transmission. Just the organism's way of reaching further. Spreading faster. Consuming more. Somewhere far above, satellites probably still orbited. Recording everything. Watching the yellow haze spread across continents. Watching cities go dark. Watching the end happen in real time. But nobody was watching the feeds anymore. Nobody was left to watch.